appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
There, good evening. Welcome to CoreTV Primetime News. I am Gift or Gete. In our major story, President Goodluck Jonathan urges all Nigerians to pray for the continued peace and stability of the nation as the 2015 election approaches. Also in this program, Senator Magnus Abe tells the PDP that it cannot remove Speaker Aminu Tambuwal from office in spite of his defection to the All Progressives Congress. Former Deputy Governor of Bayelsa State, Bembowe Ebebi escapes death in boat mishap. His 4 died. And outside Nigeria, United Nations panel on climate change warns on the looming catastrophe if fossil fuel are not phased out by 2100. Thanks for staying tuned with us. It's CoreTV Primetime News. Now details of the headlines and other stories. President Goodluck Jonathan has called on the clergy to pray for the peace and stability of Nigeria. President Jonathan, who spoke at the 3rd Bayelsa Thanksgiving Day through the Governor Serike Dixon at the Gabriel Okpara Cultural Center in Yenogwa, called on all Nigerians to pray for the continued peace, unity and stability of the country. The president urged all politicians to know that power comes from God alone and that nobody can get to power unless it is the will of God. Speaking in his own capacity, State Governor Serike Dixon urged people in leadership positions to take the people seriously and see themselves as instruments in the hands of God. He also advised those seeking leadership to see it as a drive to serve God as he is the giver of power. The General Superintendent of the Deeper Christian Life Ministry, William Skuri, stressed the need for Nigerians to continually pray for peace and unity of the country, urging Nigerians to appreciate the goodness of God by being selfless. President of the Nigerian Bar Association, Augustine Alege, says the leadership crisis currently rocking the House of Representatives over the defection of the Speaker Aminu Tambuwal is due to loopholes in the nation's constitution. Alege, who spoke to journalists at the end of a meeting of the Midwest Bar Forum comprising lawyers from Edo and Delta states, says the removal of Tambuwal security aids is because of the poor administration of justice in Nigeria. He says the nation's constitution did not envisage the defection of either the Speaker of the House of Representatives or the Senate President, since they are both expected to preside over the argument of a lawmaker defecting from one party to another. Alege added that the police erred with the withdrawal of the security details of the Speaker because the power to determine whether there had been a breach of the Constitution or not does not reside with police. Going further, Alege stated that no part of the Constitution says the Speaker or President of the Senate must come from the ruling party, but that it only states that majority members of the House must vote for such an individual, urging Tambuwal to let his deputy preside over his matter and decide accordingly. He also condemned the delay in getting the court to decide on the case of the lawmakers who decamped from the PDP to the APC earlier after almost 8 months. Ahead of a scheduled meeting between PDP leaders and members of the party's caucus in the House of Representatives, activist lawyer Festus Keyamo wants the federal lawmakers to set aside party differences to fight off the ongoing encroachment by the executives. In an interview with CoreTV News in Abuja, Keyamo maintained that it is the only way impending chaos can be averted in the nation's democracy. He also noted that Speaker Aminu Tambuwal had every reason to sue the police and the government over the withdrawal of his adlies.
What we are witnessing is the most grievous abuse of power that we are witnessing in the case of Tambuwal. It's not Tambuwal that's on trial, it is the House that's on trial. The House must insist across party lines that the executive must not interfere in their affairs. If they can gather enough people to remove him the next time the House convenes, for Christ's sake, let them do so. Let them do so, but the federal government should not be hiding behind one finger. Using the police now is like somebody trying to hide behind one finger. Because people know those behind. They know that it is the federal government behind the police.
As the controversy generated by the defection of Speaker of the House of Representatives, Aminu Tambuwal, to the All Progressives Congress from the People's Democratic Party and the withdrawal of his security details by the police continues, the senator representing Rivers South East in the National Assembly, Magnus Abe, has told the PDP that it cannot remove the Speaker from his position. Abe says, though the PDP is working round the clock to remove the Speaker, but this will be a very difficult task to achieve, since the task to remove him needs 240 votes, which he believes the PDP may not be able to muster. He, however, calls on all Nigerians to get up and reject the move to introduce confusion into the National Assembly and the alleged impunity of the PDP-led federal government. Kaduna State Governor Mokhtar Yero has commended members of the People's Democratic Party across the state on the peaceful conduct of ward congresses to elect delegates for the forthcoming primary elections. Speaking after taking part in the ward congress at his Kura ward in Zare local government area, the governor said the peaceful exercise is an indication of the unity and internal cohesion within the party. Yero said reports from across the state indicated that members of the party have once again demonstrated that PDP remains a big united family. Former Aviation Minister Felix Yat has demanded for the cancellation of the Ward Congress of the People's Democratic Party in Kaduna State. He recently picked PDP nomination form to contest the governorship election in the state, accused Governor Mokhtar Yero of hijacking the exercise. He alleged that the names of the delegates were prepared from the government house, with all the governor's loyalists making the list. Addressing journalists on why fresh Congress must hold in the state, the aggrieved former minister described the entire Ward Congress exercise, particularly in his Zone 3 senatorial district, as fraudulent and undemocratic. Still in Kaduna, Southern Kaduna-based coalition of youth groups and non-governmental organizations has called on PDP leadership to cancel the recently held ward congresses of the party in the state. It hinged its call on what it described as the absence of level playing field for people to choose their delegates. The group, which made this call in a press statement signed by its National Secretary, Sunday Kasai, also threatened that failure to organize fresh Congress will lead to a public protest. As the 2015 general election approaches, youth have been urged to be agents of positive change. The call was made at the first Walk for Positive Change held within the confines of Agege State Constituency 1 by a group led by Awolabi Olateju, a youth activist and aspirant for the constituency seat in the Lagos State House of Assembly. Kazim Kasali was part of the walk. His report is presented from our studios.
marked Work for Positive Change. The walk took the participants through areas in Agege such as Otubu, Moshalashi Alaja, and others, and terminated at its start-off point, the LSCP Dairy Farm Estate in Agege, with the participants dancing, singing, and reaching out to both the old and young to be part of what the convener Wolabi Olateju says is a parading shift for all Nigerians to change the way things are done in our sectors positively.
The primary aim of positive change is to promote employment, to promote empowerment, and to see how we can elevate the living condition of people starting with the Agege metropolis. We intend to carry this initiative to other constituencies, and we started with Agege, and we also aim to promote good governance. Talk is cheap, and I think we've made a big statement with this work we just concluded. People can see that we are serious. We have a series of media houses here, media houses that cover most of the local stations here in Nigeria, and we can see the people, you can see the support, you can see that people want a change, people want a positive change, and we are motivated, and we will not look back from this.
Some of the participants spoke to CoreTV News on why they are a part of the work, which is also an awareness campaign by the convener for his bid as a member of the Lagos State House of Assembly seat in the 2015 general elections.
It's about time we get positive change in Nigeria. It's our everyday lives is all in Nigeria. Everything we do concerning us is about our environment and all of that. And we need to see a change in what is happening. If you look at the youth today, majority of them, even with their degree, they have no jobs. They have nothing to support them. I mean, this cannot continue.
This work is just to sensitize people that health is wealth, and everybody should try and exercise. You know, exercise gives your heartbeat. You know, it makes it healthy, and once your heartbeat is healthy, you have everything.
Though the work, which was according to the participants invigorating, has come and gone, it is only hoped that the message of change will be one that will be taken on board by all Nigerians.
Respect for the rule of law and effective representation are vital ingredients that will enhance good governance and smooth transition of power in Nigeria. Oluwaseyi Adegoke was at the public lecture organized by the Lagos State chapter of the Enugu Youth Agenda and brought back this report on the lecture aimed at promoting good governance.
The event tagged Agenda for Good Governance and Smooth Transition was put together by the Lagos State chapter of the Enugu Youth Agenda, with the state coordinator of the group, Ima Abugu, saying that youth must come together and pull in the same direction.
With the youth, we need to come together and get a forum where our voice must be heard. And I tell you, that voice must be heard.
Chairman of the occasion, Ted Ojimba, says the processes that brings leadership to a nation must not only be seen to be transparent, but must lead to transparent leadership.
Political consciousness is being awoken in our youth. Youth have never participated in politics as they are showing interest today. And I congratulate you, because the youth of today is going to be the elders of tomorrow.
For his part, guest speaker at the lecture, Chima Nnanji, says there must be equity in governance.
Good governance involves some cerebral content. You must have some innate ideas about how things can work and how to work out those things that can work. Because by you are handing over your sovereignty to this group of people, you should go to bed and sleep.
The organizers call on all Nigerians to work together with the government to realize the aim of good governance and smooth transition of power in the nation come 2015. Oluwaseyi Adegoke, CoreTV News, Lagos.
You're still watching CoreTV Prime Time News. We'll take a break and be back shortly. Stay with us.
There is an Ebola virus epidemic in some West African countries. The Nigerian government wants you to be aware and watch out against the spread of Ebola in your community. help keep our country safe, and watch out for severe cases of fever, headaches, diarrhea, chest and abdominal pain, sore throat, cough, red eyes, and bleeding from the eyes, ears, and nose, especially when these symptoms are found in persons coming into Nigeria from other West African countries. Protect yourself. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water, or use a hand sanitizer. Avoid contact with the blood, urine, feces, or saliva of animals like bats, monkeys, gorillas, chimpanzees, or infected persons. The Ebola virus is deadly. Don't catch it. Don't spread it. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
Welcome back. It's CoreTV Primetime News. A reminder of some of our major stories. President Goodluck Jonathan urges all Nigerians to pray for the continued peace and stability of the nation as the 2015 election approaches. Senator Magnus Abe tells the PDP that it cannot remove Speaker Aminu Tambuwal from office in spite of his defection to the All Progressives Congress. Former Deputy Governor of Bayelsa State, Bermowe Ebebi's tips death in boat mishap. 4 died. Do not forget that you can also catch us on our social media platform. On Facebook, it's www.facebook.com/CoreTVNews. Twitter is at CoreTVNewsNG. And on YouTube, CoreTV Space News. With the gradual unraveling of the reported ceasefire agreement between the federal government and Boko Haram militants, national president of a Lagos-based Muslim organization, the Champion, Musauddin Oyefeso, has called on the federal government to do more in the move to end the criminality of the sect, even as the government insists that there is indeed a ceasefire in place.
My position has always been the president has failed us. He should not even seek re-election. I can even see the insult. As at the time he was seeking a re-election or the endorsement of his party, there were a series of bombings showing rejection of his position. He is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces. He has all the powers. He has all the resources. In fact, people will say he's the most powerful president we have in the world. Because he has so many appointments to make, he can always hoodwink all the other institutions to ensure that they toe his line. Everybody has given him cooperation on this matter, and yet he failed us. He could not quench or crush the insurgents. It's unfortunate. I think what we just need to do during the election is to kick him out with our votes.
The police authorities have inaugurated a technical audit committee to assess assets of the police force. This, according to police spokesman Emmanuel Ojukwu, is part of steps to use information communication technology in transforming the police into a world-class crime prevention organization. In his address, Inspector General Sulaiman Abba enjoined members of the committee to work as a team to achieve the objectives for which it was set up. He also used the occasion to echo his desire to transform the police into a leading national professional and efficient law enforcement organization. The committee is to, among others, audit the current status of technical and technological infrastructure of the police. It is also to assess its current human resources capacity with a view to determining the types of training for its technical personnel. The recent revelation by Nigeria's oil sector manager that about 80% of the nation's oil pipeline has been vandalized is worrying even to the average Nigerian. The development has resulted in rise in the cases of oil theft and illegal bunkering in the country, especially in the Niger Delta, Nigeria's oil production base. The oil theft has continued unabated despite efforts by the federal government to crop the activities of oil pipeline vandals and their cohorts. Motai Law in this special report takes a look at the implosion of the criminal activities and the attendant effect on the Nigerian economy, as well as the overall development of the country.
We need to diversify our economy. One of the key issues is that we cannot continue to be, and we keep on saying all the time, a monoproduct economy. There's need for us to look at other sources of revenue. Be that as is may, I believe that also we need to have the political will to confront head-on some of these abuses and some of this sabotage and some of this stuff that is going on.
These security alerts by the Chairman Senate Committee on the Environment and Ecology, Bukola Saraki, leaves much to be desired, especially as it concerns the far-reaching damaging effects of oil theft, an illicit trade that involves the theft of crude oil and its derivative products through a variety of different mechanisms with significant economic, social, environmental, governance and security implications, and contributed immensely to the poverty was recently confronted by the Nigerian Navy at the Majidun waterways in the Ikorodu area of Lagos. The community is enmeshed in extreme poverty, depicting the poor standard of living of its people. But there appears more to this, as the look of the environment tends to shield the activities of the perpetrators from the prying eyes of security agents. For this retired Nigerian colonel, the theft of oil would continue unabated if the poor are being relegated to the background. He added that Nigeria will continue to be economically vulnerable until it pays more attention to other resources outside oil.
So long as there are no other sources and the officially gathered funds from the oil cannot be properly shared, there will be stealing of oil. We cannot deceive ourselves. People will beat it. People will die on it. People will smuggle. So long as we are depending on that mono product as a means of our sustenance. But if we diversify, then there will be less pressure on the oil, and stealing, theft will reduce.
A legal practitioner, Malaki Ugwomadu, says corruption in high places has hampered the fight against oil thieves.
It is not their responsibility to get a few scapegoats just so that you give the signal to people who may be tempted to go into that by effectively prosecuting those who are culpable and those who have been arrested for oil theft.
Recently, after successfully intercepting over 2,050-liter containers containing oil products on the Majidun waterways and its surrounding creeks, the flag officer commanding of the Nigerian Navy Western Naval Command, Somi Alade, says oil thieves cannot be identified except they are caught and made to reveal their accomplice.
We need more resources so that we can procure more seagoing platforms. Then we can procure more weapons. Then we can also procure all other, items, relating to our operations, at sea.
Before the interception of the Navy, CoreTV News gathered 1,000 of tons of oil are spirited away daily in the last 10 years without anyone batting an eyelid. Apart from the activities sabotaging the economy and putting public finance in jeopardy, the aquatic life of the community has been destroyed, while security of residents in the areas hosting the illegal businesses is under serious threat. However, some Nigerians believe there can't be a smoke without fire, and called on government to take a step further by probing oil industry experts who are involved in the dirty business. The worry for them is the vandals could not have developed the expertise to vandalism of oil pipelines without internal connivance. Omota Yualo, CoreTV News, Lagos.
The issue of unemployment globally is no doubt a major source of concern for governments and society at large. In Nigeria, the case is not different. Graduates go into the labor market each year with only a tiny % of them getting jobs, increasing the effects of the already harsh economic climate. Rashid in this report x-rays the efforts of the National Youth Service Corps in training of Youth Corps members in vocational skills as a way of reducing unemployment in the country.
The issue of unemployment is obvious for most Nigerians, and most observers have called for more action both on the part of the government and non-governmental organizations. Even for those who are employed, it's just a case of getting by. But many observers have called for a shift in focus from just having degrees to vocational education, a charge the National Youth Service Corps has taken to heart with training for members of the Corps who are getting set to go into the labor market.
We are concerned, we are equally parents who have our children, and in consonance to our mandate, we teach these children to be patriotic, to be self-reliant, and to have that national integration, particularly to be self-reliant.
As the Corps anthem of a clarion call for the service of their nation indicates, Corps members who took part in the training as a hackneying to the call to the self-reliant speak on their plans.
If I meet something like this before money comes, before salary comes, I'll be able to get something from it instead of me depending on my salary.
As we all know that there's scarcity of jobs, so I intend, if I have the means, I intend furthering on this work, like to go into it fully. Maybe I can be seeing little things to help myself.
It's going to yield into a lot of profit because I'm not going to be a job seeker, rather a job provider with these skills that I have learned.
The availability of the enabling environment and the necessary capital has been a major stumbling block to the success of programs like this, even when the beneficiaries are determined to work to achieve their dreams.
We equally need encouragement from the society at large. People who should be able to sponsor them, particularly after their training, after their youth service corps. People who should be able to give them soft loan to be able to establish on their own.
The microfinance thing that we have just started, we are making available 2 billion naira. 2 billion naira as support for people that are ready to do their own jobs.
Government, however, says the mentality of the people towards vocational training and provision of funds and materials is a major challenge that must be overcome before any progress can be made.
Whatever we are providing, we are ensuring that people did not see whatever fund the government is providing as a national cake. Because the bane of government support to entrepreneurs in Nigeria is that the moment our people want to take it, they be very eager to take the money. The moment they take the money, they see it as their own share of the national cake.
Unemployment is a global phenomenon, and the acquisition of vocational skills is seen as one of the ways to combat it. But every stakeholder, be it government and the citizenry, must play their role in ensuring the success of this alternative to white-collar jobs. Rashid, CoreTV News, Oshogbo.
A former deputy governor of Bayelsa State, Mowe Ebebi, has survived a boat accident in which 4 others died. Ebebi was among the passengers in the boat that capsized in a Keremon local government area of the state on Saturday after the state's ward congresses of the People's Democratic Party. The boat mishap reportedly claimed the lives of 4 people, including an operative of the Department of State Security Service. The baby was said to have been saved by the timely intervention of the locals, but the DSS operative was said to have died before help could come. The DSS officer who lost his life was said to have escorted the head state project monitoring department, Bali Oyarede, who is aspiring for a seat in the Bayelsa State of Assembly, to the just concluded ward congresses of the People's Democratic Party. The boat was said to have upturned, emptying all the occupants into the river, with 4 of them losing their lives. You're still watching CoreTV Primetime News. Join us after this break for business, sports, and news outside Nigeria.
There is an Ebola virus epidemic in some West African countries. The Nigerian government wants you to be aware and watch out against the spread of Ebola in your community. Help keep our country safe and watch out for severe cases of fever, headaches, diarrhea, chest and abdominal pain, sore throat, cough, red eyes and bleeding from the eyes, ears and nose, especially when these symptoms are found in persons coming into Nigeria from other West African countries. Protect yourself. Wash your hands regularly with soap and running water or use a hand sanitizer. Avoid contact with the blood, urine, feces or saliva of animals like bats, monkeys, gorillas, chimpanzees or infected persons. The Ebola virus is deadly. Don't catch it. Don't spread it. This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information.
You can now watch CoreTV News live from anywhere in the world on our website www.coretvnews.com. Click on Live TV on our website and watch us live.
And welcome to CoreTV Primetime Days.
To follow us on Twitter, click on Twitter icon on our website. On Facebook, click on the Facebook and YouTube to see all our previous news production. You can also watch us live on YouTube. Click CoreTV, leave a space, then news. CoreTV News, a 24-hour news station.
Welcome back. It's CoreTV Primetime News, and now to business. The Minister of Transport, Idris Umar, said the federal government has created over 1 million direct and indirect new jobs in 4 years through the resuscitation of rail transportation. The minister made the statement while speaking at the Public Affairs Forum organized by the Office of the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Public Affairs in Abuja. The fundamental goal of the transport sector under the transformation agenda is to develop an adequate, safe, environmentally sound, efficient and affordable integrated transport system within the framework of a progressive and competitive national and international market economy, he said. Speaking further, the rehabilitation of narrow gauge lines throughout the country was almost complete, noting the rehabilitation was the first segment of the 25 years railway strategic plan, 1.124 kilometer Western Rail Line, Lagos to Kano, and had completed, while work on 1.657 kilometer Eastern Rail Line, Port Harcourt to Maiduguri, was at an advanced stage of completion. The branch line from Kafangchang to Kaduna is expected to be completed before the end of 2014. Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC oil supply in October fell by 120,000 barrels per day BPD due to lower production in Angola and Nigeria, although recovery in Libya and Iraq kept output close to September's two-year high. Oil supply from OPEC has averaged 30.72 million BPD in October, down from 30.84 million BPD in September. Despite oil dropped below $100, the price many OPEC members had endorsed, the group appears unwilling to forgo market share by cutting supplies. Lower export scheduling from Angola and Nigeria reduced supplies by a combined 100,000 BPD, while Saudi output was assessed a marginal 50,000 BPD lower due to a reduced need for crude to fuel domestic power plant. The largest gain has come from Libya supply, as edged up another 40,000 BPD in October, although it fluctuated during the month due to unrest. Concerned about the drop in oil prices, indications are that OPEC is unlikely to cut its output target when it's met in Vienna on November 27th. OPEC's most recent published forecast suggests demand for its crude will fall to 29.20 million BPD in 2015 due to rising supply of U.S. shale oil and supplies from other producers outside the group. Nigeria Bureau said it planned to exchange 4 of its shares for 5 of consolidated breweries involving up to 396.85 million ordinary shares in total. Nigerian Breweries has said over the week it would seek shareholders' approval on December 4th for its plan to merge with rival consolidated breweries. In a notice to shareholders, Nigerian Breweries said it had won Nigeria Securities and Exchange Commission SEC approval for the merger. Shareholders would be asked to consent to an order of a court sanctioning the measure to allow the deal to go ahead. The companies have not disclosed the value of the deal. And now to sports. Manchester derby. Sergio Aguero's second-half strike gave Manchester City a fourth successive Premier League victory over 10-man Manchester United at Etihad Stadium. Aguero was twice denied in the first half by David D. before United defender Chris Smalling was sent off. City then took the lead just after the hour as Aguero fired into the roof of the net from goal pass. Robin van Persie and Angel Di Maria were both denied by Joe Hart as City held firm for the win. Emmanuel Pellegrini's side are third, 6 points behind leaders Chelsea. Gareth Bale has handed Real Madrid a fitness boost ahead of their Champions League clash with Liverpool after returning to training following a hip injury. The Wales international was an unused substitute in Real's 5-0 victory at Levante on October 18 and had missed the club's last 3 matches entirely against Liverpool, Barcelona and Granada. However, the 25-year-old appeared to be nearing a comeback after taking part in Real's final training session before their return match with the Reds in Europe on Tuesday. Madrid did not confirm if the 25-year-old would be able to face Brendan Rodgers, meant at the Santiago, as the bid for a repeat of the 3-0 win at Anfield last week. Bale will have to fight off competition from Isco and James for a place in Carlos Ancelotti's, with both players shining in his absence. And now to Burkina Faso. A joint mission of the United Nations, African United and ECOWAS has advised the security forces in Burkina Faso to ensure a smooth transition of power. They also expressed readiness to work with all the parties for a rapid return to constitutional rule. This was the message representatives of the 3 organizations passed on to all stakeholders at separate meetings in Ouagadougou between October 31 and November. In the communique issued after the 3-day visit, the joint mission also appealed for the restoration of security as well as an end to acts of vengeance and witch hunting in the country. Before leaving, the diplomats sought safety guarantees for the ousted president and members of his government. The United Nations-backed Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change has made a call for a stop to be put the unrestricted use of fossil fuel by the year 2100. The world must avoid a major climate change catastrophe. The panel, in its latest report, says fossil fuels without capture and storage should be phased out almost entirely by 2100, positioning that all the world's electricity must and can be produced from low-carbon sources. IGPCC Chair says a rapid phase-out of high-carbon emitting sources of energy is vital to ensure that temperature increases are kept below 2 degrees centigrade by the end of the century. 3 previous reports from the IPCC issued over the past 13 months have all outlined the causes, impact, and the potential solutions to climate change. The synthesis boils the 3 points into one, with the sole intention of informing politicians engaged in attempts to deliver a new global treaty on climate change by the end of 2015. The United States Transport Safety Agency says investigation into the Virgin Galactic crash in California's desert could take up to a year. Head of the agency, Christopher Hart, however, says Virgin Galactic will be able to conduct test flights while the investigation is on. The spacecraft built by Virgin Group suffered a crash on Friday when the craft broke into two mid-air, with one of the pilots killed while the other was injured. Virgin Chief Richard Branson, speaking on the crash to a news conference, says he and his team are determined to find out what led to the crash and learn from it. U.S. National Transportation Safety Board Chief Christopher Hart says his team has completed the first full day of investigation and would be examining evidence at the scene for 4 to 7 days from the debris spread over an area of 5 miles from end to end. The crash has, however, been described as a massive setback for the commercial space industry by Richard Branson. Well, just before we go, a reminder of our headlines. President Goodluck Jonathan urges all Nigerians to pray for the continued peace and stability of the nation as the 2015 election approaches. We also brought you a report that Senator Magnus Abe tells the PDP that it cannot remove Speaker Aminu Tambuwal from office in spite of his defection to the All Progressives Congress. And well, that's it on CoreTV Primetime News tonight. On behalf of the entire production crew, I am Gift Ogete. Good night.